And typically you went through our system.
Yes.
And the first thing that we did is we identified where the origin of the problem was. And we knew that if you were having pain in the elbow, that pain had to be coming because a muscle wasn't supporting that joint. So we identified very quickly that, if you remember, your nervous system wasn't sending enough of a signal to your muscles to stabilize you. So that force, or those shock absorbers called your muscles, weren't absorbing that force. So all that force then went down into your elbow. Then the second thing we did is you came into me, and then I identified exactly, used the ARP, and we kind of moved around, and we found a different location, which created a sensation that was different than what you're normally used to feeling, but that was a greater sensation than when I had it on your elbow.
Yes.
Okay, so that told me right away that where the elbow was is a symptom, and where we found the discomfort was the origin. We started working on the origin. It was a 4-part system, if you remember. We worked day 1, then day 2, then day 3, and I kept asking you what number you were, and we had you do tasks that normally would bother you.
Yes.
So every time I would ask you a question, I was kind of testing to see where we were at in the system. And then once we got through those 10 sessions, and we could have condensed those, we could have put those 10 sessions down into, probably 4 days if we wanted to. Like we've got a guy in from the Anaheim Ducks right now. That's what we're doing. So basically, we took it out 10 days, and then at the end of 10 days, we sent you home with the ARP. And we sent you home with the ARP to do your therapeutic exercise. And anytime you've gone through any type of therapy, you have to go through rehab. And when you go through rehab, usually that's when things break down and fall apart because most people just aren't going to do the therapeutic exercise. We told you it was going to take, 10 minutes a day?
Yep.
And that's exactly what it is, 10 minutes a day. Now, anybody can spend 10 minutes a day watching television or doing whatever. And then, as you're progressing down that road, we keep querying you. How do you feel? What's it feel like? And what have you been doing? You've been doing the same thing that everybody else does. You look for the problem. You miss the problem being there.
Yes,
you say,
right.
Okay,
where is it?
Where is it?
And I test
now,
all the things that bother me. For instance, it was to the point where if I would wash my hands and kind of scrub them sort of, what should I say, real aggressively,
yes,
I could feel the pain in my elbow. I don't feel that now anymore. Now, it's funny, too, after playing golf, the next morning, I used the other day, I used the ARP wave system at night. I actually left it on for a couple of hours and nodded off with it.
Right.
Woke up the next morning, rubbed my hands, felt it a little bit, stopped, rubbed it again, and then it was gone. So it was there, and you're telling me that's a memory thing.
It's a memory. Keep in mind that pain basically is a neurological phenomena as well as a physiological phenomena. And what we've found out over the years, and it only took us 30 years to figure this out, that when we're looking for something, like if it hurts my wrist all the time, and it's hurt my wrist for years and years and years, and all of a sudden it's gone, I miss it. So I have to keep looking for it because I can't believe it's gone. It's been a part of me for all those years. So it's just a memory. And so once you feel it and it's gone, it's gone. And sooner or later, you'll stop looking and you won't find.
I went and saw you at your office for 2 weeks, 10, 15 minutes a day, 5 days a week. The last day I was there, I said, by the way, I've got this in my ball joint of my big toe on my right foot. I have what is been diagnosed as arthritis. I have a lot of trouble bending it at the ball joint. It's very stiff. You put one of the pads of the ARP wave system on my ankle, ran the current through your fingertips.
I had to really like you to do that.
I guess. It was like I was getting a pedicure, I guess. And you started to work that ball joint, and within 10 seconds, I was moving that ball joint almost like I was 30 years ago. It had more flexibility than it had ever had before.
Exactly. And people say, well, that's impossible. You know,
I thought it was impossible. I didn't think you could help.
We get people that come in all the time, and they'll say that my neck is fused or my shoulder is fused. I have frozen shoulder. I have a frozen knee. What we're looking at is a joint that is being locked down by muscle. All I did is say to your muscle, relax. And when it relaxed, you can move. You try to move going like that, you're not going to be too successful flexing your arm. But if you relax the arm, it can move.
How Can I ever get that toe back to where it's 100% again? Because that eventually, that one quick trip, it wore off after a while. It came back. But could I keep doing that and eventually it would go away?
Oh, absolutely. We'll start it right now. We'll give you 10 treatments.
You want me to put my toe in that water, too, don't you?
Exactly. I want you to put your foot in the water.
Yeah.
And then at the end of those 10 treatments, we'll have you standing on your toes
well, you have
like
me
a
standing on my
ballerina.
toes in the office like a ballerina, and I hadn't done that literally in 25 years since the injury first occurred. So I think it started with an injury that didn't heal. I think I had a hairline fracture or something. I don't recall, but I know that I hadn't been able to stand on my toes like that.
You were telling me the story that you jumped over a fence.
Yeah,
and
crashed the gate at a concert, which is a long story back in my crazy days. Couple of questions that people have that have emailed. For instance, someone emailed that they have constant headaches. Can you help that?
Yes, absolutely. Unless there's some underlying disease issue.
Right.
But most headaches are caused by the muscles on the top of the shoulder called the trapezius muscle shortening. And when it shortens, it applies pressure to the base of the skull, and you have a headache. Usually a migraine headache or something of that nature, when they come into the clinic, we kind of have what we call a countdown period, and we have a game. We try to get that headache gone in less than a minute. And all we do is just simply relax the muscle, have them move freely, and the headache's gone.
Here's another question. They say their mother's been told that she needs to have her back fused. Can you help? Does she need to have her back fused?
Well, I wouldn't know until I saw her, but I can tell you that, and without obviously practicing medicine without a license type thing, and that's not what we're doing, we're just offering a different point of view. If you've been told that you have to have fusion, the reason you've been told you have to have fusion is you have no support in the back. Now, let me ask you a question, Common. Do the bones support the bones, or do the muscles support the bones?
I think it's the muscles.
Absolutely. So why in God's green earth would you ever want to fuse the bones before you work the muscles to see if you could get them to stabilize that joint?
So you would have, like any of the listeners, you'd have his mother come in.
Yep.
You would give her that examination.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And for the listeners, won't cost them a
No
dime
charge.
to say, we can help you, or there's nothing we can do.
Absolutely.
And you'll let them know. And people have that standing offer right now. If you're listening to this show today or in ensuing weeks, and if you would like to see if Dennis or his staff at the ARP Wave Clinic, the clinic's over in Burnsville, the corporate office is in Apple Valley. If you'd like them to see if they can help you, absolutely no charge. All you need to do is contact Dennis and his staff at arpwave.com, arpwave.com. And if you have any questions on it, confidential, if you'd just like to ask Dennis some questions,
certainly,
he can certainly talk to you. Same thing, arpwave.com, accelerated recovery performance, arpwave.com. If you have questions for the show, which will be back again at 7 o'clock Sunday morning, you can email those questions to Dennis's email at arpwave.com or common at kfan.com. So there we have it. Thanks again for coming on in. We look forward to it. Let's try to get rid of some of that pain and get people feeling good again.
Absolutely.
Again, we'll be back next Sunday, and once again, it's arpwave.com. If you have questions, KFAN or comment at kfan.com. This has been House of Pain here on The Fan. Have a great rest of the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
For more on how ARP Wave Technologies can help you, log on to arpwave.com. That's www.arpwave.com. This has been the House of Pain on The Fan.